know what? Just because all of you were right, about Fate Stay Night probably being anime of the year, I hate you because fuck it, you're right. Tsudidamas-kun was wrong. Fuck. So, if I had to rate this episode of Fate Stay Night, you know what? This is hard to really do, cause episode 0 was like a 7.5 to a 7. And then they just pretty much said, "Why did you even watch episode 0, you retard? Episode 1 is a 10." And then I just walked in and like, "Yeah, let's just please get this over with, this overhyped piece of." And then it was perfect. And except the only complaint I have is Shiro at the end, but I feel as if that's a subjective thing, and the only reason why I call that subjective is because I feel as if the series is, because there's so many teenagers. The strategy part that was in Fate Zero and things such as that, they're not going to be here. They're not going to be present within Fate Stay Night, or they're not going to be as prominent as they were. And I think that's what made Fate Zero stand out. Some of the strategies that Kiritsugu used and things of that sort, whereas this is just going to be like battle, battle. They're only going to have strategies kind of in battle when they need them, rather than, making strategic moves out of battle. And I think that's the only complaint I'm going to have with the series, which will probably make me lower, because I have a feeling there's no way the series is going to end at a 10. I can see it ending at a 9.5, but I'll probably end up giving it like a 9.25 for the fact that I'm going to miss that maturity aspect with the strategies, but overall I can see why anybody would give it a 10. So, let's get into the review. Oh my fucking god, the animation, oh my god! Dude, the animation was so good. Like, you don't know how mad that I am because this show was good and it was a 10. You don't know how mad that actually makes me. Like, I'm so pissed that it was just like everything in this episode was better than episode 0. Like, everything. The characters, the animation, which we're on right now, which just the red aura that surrounded Lancer's Lancer's lance in episode 0 did not look as good as it did in this episode. It looked so fluid. Everything in this episode looked fluid, whereas last episode it was like fluid, choppy, fluid, Madhouse. Instead of it looking like Ufotable, it looked like Madhouse worked on most of last episode. But this looked like it was Ufotable, and it was Ufotable with $4 billion more than they had in Fate Zero. And speaking of which, the art. So you guys know last week I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much blue and yellow and orange. So I was having some arguments earlier today about, how just because it's nighttime, it doesn't have to be blue. And you know what Ufotable did? They made it black. They made it black and blue. They made like in the last episode, I don't know if you noticed in episode 0, but just because it was night, they made the trees blue. Trees aren't blue! They're green! But they fixed it. They did such a good job fixing it. There's so much more color balance. There's green, red, blue, black, orange, yellow. The color is just balanced everywhere. There's like one of almost every color. There was even purple. So that shows you how much they're trying to balance this out now. Which I think leads into the whole thing about the attention to detail. There were floor reflections. There were like prints on the bottom of their shoes. There was like detail and like mirror and like windows from things across the street. I mean, the amount of detail put into this is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't praise Ufotable enough for doing it this time. And let's get into, the story. The information that we got last episode, in short, was all foreshadowing. And while I thought it meant no significance, compared to the first episode, it actually just kind of hints you at what the heck was going to happen this episode. I thought that this episode was just going to be the first episode, or episode 0, just from Shiro's perspective, but it was more than that. there was so much more that happened in Shiro's life, and all of it was interesting, rather than just throwing us into a bunch of characters like we did with Ren. Ren not really socializing with much of anybody, other than at the beginning. Most of the time she just socializes with Archer, and it was really dull. But in episode 1, which is this episode, we get Shiro talking to Sakura, his teacher, his friend, Shinji, and then we get the whole death scenario. We get the saber. We get the Lancer fight. We pretty much get everything that the first or episode 0 failed to do, or was failing in. It was lacking in. And I feel as if episode 1 just perfected everything that episode 0 did wrong. I think that's almost it. I do love how Ufotable was not afraid to show blood, and they perfectly show that in this and in Fate Zero. I do want to say the animation stands out in way more places. Just like throughout the episode, you could tell that there was so much more budget put into the animation, whereas episode 0 just kind of looked like it was Madhouse. It really did. Like, episode 0 looked like, for the most of the time, it was just like Madhouse doing Madhouse. But this time it looked like Ufotable, or maybe like PA Work, somebody on that level doing it, rather than just like Madhouse or A1. I think that's about it. I do like the tension between characters that we did not get really in episode 0. And one last thing. You know what else made me give this a 10 out of 10? Kuritsugu. I mean, the way they... Just seeing him and seeing how Shiro got affected makes you feel even more sad for Kuritsugu, in my opinion. But that's only if you watch Fate Zero. So if you haven't watched Fate Zero, why are you even watching Fate Stay Night? Go watch Fate Zero. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment. Yeah, this is... it's a three-way race like I thought it would be between Fate Stay Night, Shigatsu, and Parasite. And right now, Shigatsu's 2, Fate Stay Night is 1, and Parasite is 3. That's my opinion. But anyways, I will see you guys later. Deuces.